This show is sponsored by Magnetic Frequence, where independent artists can reach their hidden potential. Whether you need a mix or a master, or just an artistic approach on any of your tracks, reach out to me, Be Focused, on the link below. See you there. Welcome to the Magnetic Frequence podcast. I am your host, Be Focused, and I like to actually start my shows with the company's motto, which is creating magnetic vibes on a frequency worldwide. Today, I have a very special guest today, very special guest. But before I bring him in, I want to do a brief introduction of him, all right? So let's see here.
I'm not sure if you guys can tell, but I'm not from here. I was born in London, England. My parents dropped me off 20 years ago and they went back home. They said, we brought you to America, the land of milk and honey. Now go out there and do something with yourself. And now I'm here trying to make you guys laugh. For those that don't see color, I'm black. When I first came here, people couldn't connect my accent and my complexion, you know? They'll say anything besides English. They'll say, oh, you're from Bermuda, from Bahamas, South Africa, you know? But that's all changed now, you know? I've been here a long time, you know? I came here 5 years BIE, you know? Before Idris Elba. You put awareness to black British people.
Meet Ryan, a transatlantic comedian blending UK with US humor and Caribbean vibes. Born in London, raised by Jamaican parents, now trying to survive in New York, Connecticut area, Ryan brings a unique perspective to the stage with sharp observations and witty insights. Performing throughout New York and Connecticut, his comedy tackles everyday absurdities with relatable humor, cheeky charm, and a laid-back swagger that's infectious. Please welcome my special guest, Ryan Olphonce.
Be Focused. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here with the Magnetic Vibes Frequence crowd.
Yes, man. Salute. Yeah, man. So, what is We Are Laughs, and how did you get into comedy? Tell me
Yeah,
about that.
so I've always been a big fan of comedy. I've always loved watching it. And then I got into performing, and uh, We Are Laughs is like I like to think of it as like a conglomerate, you know. We have a bunch of people, partners coming together, and I produce shows and um, uh, try to put on the events and showcase new talent.
Hmm.
So as during through my travels, I've seen a lot of great artists. So I've want to give a platform for them to go to. So if there's any up and coming artists, you can reach out to myself, Ryan Olphonce, at We Are Laughs, or Cindy Laugh at We Are Laughs, and we can give you guys a platform. And
Mm.
and then also, as far as comedy, I've been watching comedy for a long time. I've always loved the greats: Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle, uh, Cat Williams, and I kind of got into it because back in the '90s, my mum used to do stand-up comedy.
Oh,
So
wow. Wow.
yeah. So when she didn't have a babysitter, she would drag me and my brother out to the show. So we used to be out at the show, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, midnight, just watching great comedians do their thing.
Wow. That's really it's really good right there, man. But
Yeah,
yeah.
unique
So
experience, man.
as far as comedy, you know how some people they do things they're like not too passionate about. Would you say comedy is something like you're truly passionate about? Kind of like, DJ Khaled where he says it's a forever thing. Is it like that for you?
Well, yeah, man, it's great, because you get to use your creativity. It gives you an outlet for some of the thoughts that come to your mind. Some situations you could tackle those topics and add your own little flair or humor to it. And I'm going to keep going. Every time I
Mm.
go up on stage, people are loving it, and I like the creativity of it. So I'm going to keep going and keep pushing We Are Labs and getting it as big as possible.
Gotcha. So you would say you could see yourself like in the future being mentioned amongst the greats and stuff like that?
Hopefully, man. Hopefully, I feel like with my blend of my being born in the UK, with Jamaican parents and living in the US since my school days, uh, it's a great mix, and there's also a lot of people who have experienced that as far as that West Indian UK American connection.
Mm.
So I would love to be the one that makes all the, the British Americans, the Jamaican Americans, the Jamaican British, the Canadians. I'd love to bring them all together and make them laugh. So I'd like to fit in that slot right there.
The Idris Elbas.
Yes,
I'm messing.
exactly.
But yeah, so as far as with your experience in comedy right now, what would you say as like, advice to other comedians that's looking to actually get into the game and just any type of leg up you want to give them? What would you say?
Yeah, yeah. All I would say is that there's a huge community out there. Um,
Mm,
I've from what I've experienced in New York, there's thousands. In Connecticut, there's a lot of different stages. There's a lot of different people doing it.
mm,
The most important thing is stay active. You almost have to get to a point where you write, if not weekly, you write daily. Um, and then you've got to try and find stages, try and find open mics to keep yourself on it. And it's really about constantly doing it. I had a guy who's been doing it a long time, a very experienced guy, gets a lot of big jobs, and he says you have to really do some kind of event every single week.
mm,
Whether that's a show, whether that's an open mic, you have to do one every single week because writing is one thing, but the delivery and your flow on stage is a whole other thing that really can only create in front of a crowd.
hmm Nah, that's definitely something that could pertain to music as well, not just comedy, as
Yeah,
far as like, just being active and, you know what I mean, trying to be relevant and um,
yeah,
just in the midst of the thing, because the more you do it, the more uh, it just starts to come, you know what I mean, and
yeah,
natural, I would
absolutely.
say. Yeah, so
That's
it's
where you get your
definitely.
style from. Your what makes you you.
hmm hmm But yeah, there's a comedian that goes by the name of Major Hype. Are you familiar with him?
Oh yes, major hype. He's almost like a king of Jamaican American West Indian comedy right now. He's huge. I'm a big fan.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Major Hype's definitely good. I have a clip I want to run and show the audience real quick. Let's see here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. All right. It goes a long way. Highly appreciate you. Now back to your regular scheduled programming.
Yeah, that's right there.
A very generous set of people.
All right, here
So
we
we're
go.
gonna kick it off with the topic of Caribbean music, dancehall, soca, our genres of music in Caribbean entertainment. What do y'all think
Mhm.
about it right now? Where do you think it's at right now? Is it good? Is it not good? Is it, making
Mm,
progress? Is it not making progress? How do y'all feel about that genre of music?
Well, my take on dancehall music now
Mhm.
is that it's not doing the numbers that it did in the early 2000s.
Mhm.
You know? Cause I remember when we go high school, Champa up on TV,
Mhm.
Elephant Man up on MTV, Joke Girl.
So
I
Roger
definitely
Wilder's
remember
up on
that.
TV.
Yeah, up on TV,
Yeah,
but
back
how
then,
does
killed
that?
it.
Oh,
Me never seen on TV.
yeah, me not seen for MTV, me not seen for
Right,
BET.
B-
Is it
Roger
what I say?
Wilder?
Roger Wire and them thing
But
there.
like Roger
No,
Wilder
not
was
well. All right, right.
It's like the international appeal is not there, basically.
Mm,
just bring back early 2000.
All right. So
Yeah.
check it. Right.
mm,
Back in those times, we had Rachel. That was on BT.
Yeah.
We had Big Tigger.
Yeah.
Big up
AJ
Tigger,
are
my
free.
brother. Tigger is an advocate of Caribbean culture.
Sure, we come for find
What else did we have? We had a few shows, but at that time, I believe the impact, like you said, it was bigger.
Yeah, way
because there's a video floating
Yeah,
around
definitely.
with with Fat Joe, where he was like, yo, you know, when I did Rockaway, Jamaicans had it. They did the Rockaway and they did the dances and they had the dances at the time.
Yeah.
It's a different time now.
It's like our influence was so big back then that we influenced the Americans. Like now, the Americans are influencing us.
When you see
Wow.
a man in a Jamaica, I do a music video with a leather jacket on.
Leather jacket.
Yeah, something all right. That's all.
For real.
Yeah.
That's coming from somewhere else.
Yeah. Oh, man. Definitely something all right
Too
there.
hot for that. Too hot for that.
Yeah, man. As far as what would you say comedy in Caribbean music, like where would you say they stand now today?
Yeah, well, you know, I still believe you can't beat dancehall from the '90s, man. You know, with Buju and Beanie Man and everyone back then, it was worldwide. Germany, Japan, Africa was all listening to it, and even in 2000 with Sean Paul and TOK and Mr. Vegas,
Mm,
they were killing it too. Um, and I know it's dropping off a little bit now, but you know things do change, and these waves go up and down. So
mm,
it's soon come back. It's soon come back. But yeah, Major Hype is one of the best for it, man, because he brings the music and the jokes together. You know,
mm,
when you watch his show, it's like it's a real entertainment show. You know, because
mhm,
you can be dancing and laughing all in the same spot. You know, so you really can't beat that. But yeah, I like what he said about um, the West Indian influence on American music and the back and forth, because there's definitely a lot of back and forth. You know, there
definitely.
was yeah, you know, the West Indians that influenced early hip hop, um, because you know DJ Kool Herc, one of the originators, Jamaican man. You know, KRS-One and legend in the hip hop game. The Jamaican West Indian family, Heavy D, Biggie, Busta Rhymes,
Mm,
you know, all West Indian families, you know, and even the original rapping was influenced by how they used to have the DJs in Jamaica and they start coasting over the music, and that's kind of what created the rap in Jamaica and influenced hip hop over here.
mm,
But there was a huge back and forth
mm,
because like there's so many songs that would have like West Indian uh, remixes, Jamaican remixes. You know, you
definite.
hear like Biggie, uh, 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 Super Cat come on this song,
Yeah.
you know, and things like back in the day past, the Dutchie
Mm-hmm.
became so big over here,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So there's the two music styles, hip hop and reggae dancehall, and soca. They move next to each
In
other. You,
unison.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, they really do. They really do.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, there's always been a back and forth of
Mm,
influence. You know, coming from West Indian culture, I like to think that we helped spark what hip hop became. You know,
mm,
but
mm.
you know, it's definitely a partnership.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. As far as that goes with Jamaican Indian influence on hip hop now, it's like very touchy. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
it's definitely there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying Jamaicans created hip hop. All I'm saying is literally that the influence was there. You know what I mean? And it's
yeah,
it's
man. Some of the
undeniable.
early people were definitely West Indian, but like I said,
Hmm.
you know, by going back and forth, it's creating something else every single time. You know.
Hmm. Hmm. Definitely.
Because even if you
But
look at the Afro beats, the Afro beats that's kind of taken over the space where dancehall was
mm,
massive and killing it. Afro
yeah,
beats is not truly African. You know what I mean? Afro
true,
beats started in
true,
the UK, so
true.
it's like it took the Nigerians and the Ghanaian people who bring their music up to the UK, and then it took the West Indians that bring their music up to the UK, mix it all up together, and now you have Afro beats. You know,
Hmm.
so it has influences from all over the world, and that's what life is. You know, every life is. I like to think that um, all of human history is just a big remix. You
Oh,
know,
definitely.
someone someone has some information, and then you either find it out, you read it, or it's passed down to you, and you add your little twist on it, you put your little flavor on it, and you create something else. And then later on, someone will create even more. You know,
Mm-hmm. Nah.
I always say that the way I know I'm getting older is the songs I used to listen to are getting sampled now. You
Oh
know,
yeah, definitely.
they're getting sampled. And then my son and daughter are listening to songs like, oh, that's cool. So I said, I know that beat. You know,
Yep.
that came out 12, 15 years ago.
Teeth.
Yeah, that's brand new.
Yeah.
so, so,
Nah,
yeah,
that's true.
so I was listening to music that my parents said, hey, that song came out a long time ago. And now it's
Hmm.
happening to me. So,
Nah, yeah.
it's passing
Wow.
of the torch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very true, man. It's very true. I mean, definitely when it comes to all of that, man, it's a touchy subject. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Taking music and sampling it and bringing it over and doing all that stuff. But at
That's
the end of the
growth, man.
day,
It's how life develops.
yeah, it's you can't stop it. Can't stop the whole evolution. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Now, as far as there was another comedian I actually wanted to bring up, and his name is Corey Holcomb. Are you familiar with Corey Holcomb?
Corey Holcomb spits the truth, man. Like, love it or
Mm,
hate it, he says what he thinks, man.
yeah, Corey Holcomb definitely says what he what he thinks, man. He ain't gonna
Yeah,
be shy about it.
yeah. That's
Yep.
right.
But I want to play a clip real quick. Let's see here, so the audience can see that.
Craig Facts in the house. I tried not to say nothing, but I gotta say something.
What now? I'm missing it. What happened? Okay.
My brother Marvin Sapp.
Oh no, God, this is just getting.
You talking about the 40,000?
Oh man.
Yes, it's like he went on Ricky Smiley's show. And I wish he wouldn't have.
Me too. Me too.
I wish he didn't go on Ricky Smiley's show. Not like I'm against Ricky Smiley's show. I'm all for Ricky Smiley's show.
Yeah.
But it was bad. It was bad.
You know Marvin Sapp?
No, but I bought every one of his albums he ever put out. I listened to his music.
Right?
Yes.
Well, he's saying
he
that's
dope.
where he gets all his money. He
I
didn't get any-
listened to the music. But you heard what D just said. Say that again, D.
Well, he's saying that that's where he gets all his money, really, because he is a multi-million selling recording artist.
I know that you
forget
didn't
that.
probably watch the interview on Ricky Smiley, right?
No, I need to, yeah.
He went on there. I'm talking about my brother, Marvin Sapp, went on there with wordplay. And it was so, I was like, oh my God, stop. So we all know that, damn, how can I say this other than just be straight up? Pulpit pimping is a way of life in America. Do we disagree with this? Anybody?
Sadly,
That's a term, man.
Pulpit pimping. It goes on in America where preachers know how to work the congregation out of more than they probably would naturally give. Is that fair? Because I'm not trying to say nothing that ain't right.
Right.
Preachers know how to work you out of more than what you would normally give out your pocket. They feel like you owe this in the name of the Lord.
You know the Bible says there's 5 ways that they're allowed to make money.
Craig.
Do you know them?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is the 5 ways they're allowed to make money before I go deeper into
Leviticus
this?
27:30 through Malachi 3 verse 10.
Oh, he going into
basically
Bible
says
verses,
through tithes and offering. That's number 1. Number 2 is ministry support. In the New Testament, Paul discusses the concept of providing financial support for those who preach the gospel. You can also look that up, Corinthians 9:14.
That's right.
Also gifting. The Bible allows for individuals to give gifts to church leaders as a form of appreciation and support. That's outlined in 1 Timothy 5, verses 17 through 18. And then ministry-related work is number 4. Basically engaging in ministry-related work such as writing, teaching, or counseling. So I believe the albums will go into that. And then labor in the church. Preachers may receive financial support for their work within the church, such as pastoral care, administration, are roles that contribute to the functionality of a church.
All what you
Mm.
said are ways to justify preachers asking for something. But this is what I'm saying. In this case that was caught on video, the brother aggressively said what he want from people.
And he had a
That's
reason.
wild.
Am I lying?
No, you're not. And he had, well, I would say excuse.
He aggressively said what he want from people. The first thing he did on
Yeah.
Ricky Smiley that I was like, oh, you word playing, homie, was when the man said, he said, shut the doors. And he know he
Yo,
said,
that's wild.
in fact, the
That is
last two
wild.
went like this, close the doors. Close the doors.
Yo, that's wild.
And I was like, whoa, okay.
Yo,
And he act like,
extreme.
I'm just saying, they downplayed what they did. Listen, if you are the pastor at
That's
a church
extreme.
and people want the respect of the pastor, your influence over the people is strong.
Yeah, that's real extreme, man. Shutting the doors, man. Dang.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
would you say is your take on pastors doing the whole pulpit pimping thing? What Corey Holcomb saying?
I like that term, man.
That's definitely a term.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, there's two things I have to say. One, the church does great works.
Hmm.
It
Definitely.
guides people spiritually. It comforts people. It gives people a way to express themselves. It gives people a way to develop their talents. There's many singers, musicians, mixing artists, community organizers, uh, public speakers who have developed all their skills, with teachers, people who teach Sunday school and youth classes and things like that, have developed their talents within the church.
Hmm.
So, like I said, spiritual guidance and things like that. So, yeah, in that side, it does great works. They do things within the community. They, uh, can feed different people and things like that. And give people shelter and think, the good works that they do. And, we live in a capitalist society. So the
Mm.
church, in most cases, it's hard for the church to make money itself. I know
True.
some churches do, you know, s- do things with music, do things with events, and like they say, this guy makes money off of CDs and music. So,
Mm.
but majority of churches is donations. They survive
Mm.
by donations. Um, so they have to. There was a joke by Steve Harvey back in the day. He goes, you've been going to church for 30 years, and we've had the building fund. He ain't seen to put a doorknob on the church yet, you know. but they do need to collect to keep the church in good shape. If people are donating their time, that there might be funds that are needed for whatever. So a
Mm.
church has to survive off of donations. But what Corey's asking is are these guys pimping more money out of the congregation than they would naturally give? And in some cases, yes. Some case, if it gets to, it's just like with any human. If you make the only way you can take in money is
Mm.
from making someone feel a certain way and talking to them in a certain way,
Mm.
you're going to try and maximize that. You're going to try and squeeze as much as you can, and you
True.
know, I
True.
yeah, and I think there's only I think these passes can go too far, right?
Mm.
There's this story where the guy's closing the doors until he gets 40,000 in that one session. There's Creflo Dollar who
Oh
wants a
man.
jet. Remember that one he
Oh
wanted the
God.
jet?
Yeah.
Just when
Yeah.
he's
That's
getting to.
crazy.
So
Crazy.
he said,
Jeez.
God said that he needs a jet, his own private
Hmm.
jet, so he can get the word out. You know,
That's wild.
who am I to
That's wild.
say, what he heard, um, that's definitely pushing it to another level. I think
Hmm.
that um, some of these people that are up there with these mega churches and these televangelists and stuff like that, I feel like there's only so many personality types in the world,
Mm.
you know, and
Hmm.
some people. want the attention, and they want to be seen, and I feel like they get into certain things um, because of that, and I feel like if they weren't preaching and pimping on the pulpit, they might be using those personality traits to pimp other ways, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So
Mm-hmm. That's
they
very
they're
true.
they're
Very
up,
true.
yeah, they're up there looking for attention, and I don't want to sound too cynical. There are some people that are saying God's word and are genuine people, but
Mm-hmm.
there are some people that want that pat on the back. They want that recognition. There, there's a lot of people in churches right now that are status is why they're there. They get to
Mm.
be deacon, they get to be minister this, minister that, and uh, elder such and such, and they kind of it gives them a status, gives
That
them a tag.
status. Yeah, that
Yeah,
status.
and and,
Yeah.
and I would hate. I don't like to think that everyone's in it for that, but we as humans, we have to fight against some of our natural urges, but sometimes we're, we want we're proud. We want to have pride. We want to feel like we're doing a little bit better than someone else. So
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of people that are searching status and via the church, and some of these pastors, man, they if they weren't on the pulpit talking
Mm.
to the crowd, trying to squeeze money out of them, they might be doing a speech on life motivation. They might be, pimping women out in the world.
Yeah.
You-
Yeah.
because it's probably the same personality type, just used in different avenues. You know,
True.
so
Very true.
I'm not saying that they're bad people, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, they'll probably be using those talents in other ways.
That's true.
Because
And I mean,
sometimes it's not just tithes and offering that they're pimping out people in the church. Some of them
mm-hmm.
some of them pimping women and sisters in the church.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking
Mm-hmm.
about their Sunday best.
Yeah, that's
you
it's a reality,
know,
man. It's a reality. And again, as you were saying, for me, born and raised in church, man, grandfather was a pastor, all of that,
yeah, yeah,
like drilled church in us. Like literally, I probably
yeah.
went to church so many times, like I can't
For
even
we,
yeah, per week, you know what I'm saying? So at the same time, like definitely nothing against the church at all,
no,
and heart goes out to the genuine pastors, genuine people who, deacons and everything that's actually doing their roles. And you know what I mean? They're doing it to the extent where they're not trying to bring about any type of manipulation and stuff like that, because
yeah,
at the end of the day, man, we need pure, honest, like people in this world, because
yeah,
at most times you see so many things like going on, man. It's like, dag, it's so easy to spot out corruption, but the people who are, on a daily, going day by day and doing the right thing, we don't acknowledge that, and I think the church
yeah.
definitely needs to be acknowledged for that, you know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
the negative side is being outshining the positive side, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
true.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's many great works in the church. There's
Mm-hmm.
many people have been helped and have been guided in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just when people start getting into that prosperity preaching and just kind of like, if you want the life that I'm having, the big house, the big church, the Bentley, my wife has all the purses, that follow my words or follow my acts, and that starts, that can almost create like cult mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Not to
Very
say
true.
that's always the case, but
Yeah.
but if someone's doing it just to be as financially in the financial position that the pastor is in, that's not the right way. It's supposed to be uh, a spiritual salvation, not just financial goals.
And you brought a really good point on that too, as far as with the status. You know what I mean? People want that status, and then that status starts to get to their head once they
Yeah,
they get a role. But like for instance, a lot of people could relate to this. How many people literally had a job, right, where they had regular coworkers they're working with, and for some odd reason or something happens where that coworker becomes a manager now, right? He takes
Mhm.
that role, and then now he starts switching up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he
I'm a
ain't the
different
same.
person.
Yeah, it's that status. It's that status. It's a
Yeah,
real thing, man. I
yeah.
mean, if you're not you know, what you call it, how can I say it? If you're not really looking into how it can affect you, it literally will affect you. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll start just acting different, and people are like, oh, why you switching up? You know what I'm saying? So it is
Yeah.
a real thing. Definitely is a thing. But other than that, love church, man. Love it. But
Yeah, no, of course. But
mhm,
what you're talking about with status, it's almost like
mhm,
emotional intelligence. You
mhm,
can't just go into something and then kind of forget who you are.
mhm,
You still
mhm,
have to. You have a job to do, but pride is one of the seven deadly sins.
mm,
You don't want to get
mhm,
too big up your chest too much and forget that we're we all have a job to do here.
mhm. True. Now, there's actually another clip I wanted to bring to the audience to show. You're familiar with Damon Wayans?
Oh yes, the Wayans
Okay.
family.
Okay.
Family of legends.
Yeah, definitely. I want to show a quick clip of him. He was on the
Yeah.
Club Shay Shay's podcast. Let's see here.
No, Robin Williams was a notorious thief.
Oh,
I ain't lying. His manager used to walk around with a checkbook. And Robin would come off stage and comedian would say, hey, he just took my and he'd write him a check, $75.
Damn.
Because he knew Robin was all stream of conscious. And he would steal material. He was known. Comedians would go, I'm not going on because Robin's here.
Bruh.
Mm, mm. Yeah, that's tight, man. How do you feel about that? Comedians stealing jokes and stuff like that.
well, yeah, plagiarism can happen in many different ways, man. Many different ways. I don't, it's never good to steal. You'd hope that uh, this, what we're doing with comedy and music too,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you're trying to be creative. You're trying to come up with new things, not just steal other people's things. So I would hope that you have your own. Even if there's people that aren't as good and they have to steal. Uh, you hopefully have creativity in you. You have your own delivery, your own style, your own experiences that influence your performance and what you come up with. But
Mm-hmm.
stealing and it's terrible because in comedy, you only have if when you're doing stand up, you have that person for the evening, you have your little 10, 15 half hour with them, telling them jokes. Everyone's all drunk. There's not really any way to. If you're stealing it, you're just stealing it. You're just stealing that
Mm,
that that joke with those lines. The crowd's probably drunk. They only remember the last 15 seconds, so
true, true.
there's no way for you to do a callback to say, oh, got this from
Mm,
someone else. In music sometimes you might
mm-hmm.
rap a legend's lyrics or something like
Mm,
that, but it can be that you're kind of paying homage to that
mm,
legend. You,
mm,
you, you know, if something that's a known in the public consciousness and you say it, it's like, oh, that's a callback to such and such line. But
mm,
in comedy, it's just a cheap joke, cheap laugh.
man.
So it's hard to say you can't do a little clip at the end and say, oh, this was someone else's jokes. Like, you're just stealing when it
Mm,
when it comes to comedy. But like I said, hopefully, your creativity overflows within you, and even if there's someone who wants to, you know, try to steal that stuff from you, they can't steal who you are.
mm-hmm.
So whatever influence you have on it, whatever style you have on it, hopefully that can overcome it, or you just create something new.
Mm. Nah, that's real. As far as when it goes to like music, like it's a forbidden like no. You can't be taking
Yeah,
people's
yeah,
lines or anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because it's even with Drake. I guess what happened. They got he got a lot of slack for people ghostwriting from. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
So it's
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
You have to have a sense of originalness when it comes to music. You know what I mean? But yeah, at the same time now, like with Michael Jackson, he had like he said, James Brown inspired him. You know what I mean? And he
Yeah,
done a lot of things like dance moves and everything, kind of sparked that flame inside of him in order to come out
yeah,
with what he came out with. And at the same time, it's like it's good to give homage, like you said. Homage is a
yeah,
real good thing. I mean, it's not saying you're going ahead and taking somebody's lyrics like word for word or anything like that, but
yeah,
you're literally saying that artist, I like that artist, he influenced me. You know what I mean? Now I'm going ahead and creating my own, and you know what I mean, and putting my own spin on it and putting it out there, but not taking their lyrics. You get what I'm saying?
yeah. No, no, everyone was sparked by someone else. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Everyone kind of put a little influence in there, and then they do their thing on top of it and make it bigger.
Hmm.
But definitely, and hip hop is one of the major genres of music where it's all about what you create. You have
Hmm.
Babyface has been writing songs for people for
Oh yeah,
forever.
for a long time. Yeah.
R&B, pop music. Most of the pop music that we hear is not written by the artists that we see. They have a
Hmm.
songwriter. They have a musician,
True.
and then this is just the beautiful face that we're seeing.
Very true.
But
Very true.
yeah, but hip hop has been one that has really it doesn't like that. Hip hop
Hmm.
truly respects you. You created this. You wrote this. You performed it, and that's why we respect you. So uh, there's a couple things that hip hop holds true and dear that other
Hmm.
music genres don't really pay big importance to.
True.
And that's definitely one of them. Is that hey, if we're here seeing you perform it, you better wrote it. You better be performing it. It better be all yours.
Hmm.
Which I don't think pop, rock, all those things. I don't think they care about that as much.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
it's definitely hip hop says, hey, you ghostwriters ghostwriter is a scandal in hip hop.
Mm.
Scandal. It's not the same way in other music genres. You
That's
know,
true.
you know,
Very
you
true.
know. Another thing. This ain't really to do with that, but I just wanted to bring up another thing in hip hop
Hmm.
is that we always got to know who's better than the other one. No
Mm.
other genre does that.
True.
You can have
True.
in rock and roll, you can have the Rolling Stones and Beatles and Aerosmith and everyone can be together. You don't have to
Mm.
say who's the king of New York,
Mm.
who's the best female artist in the game, who's the best singing
That's
rapper.
very true. Very true.
But hip hop has said we gotta know who is number one. I don't know where
Mm-hmm.
that came from. You know what
It's
I mean?
the competition. I mean, I think it's like it's kind of, I would say, if I had to guess, it'll be like the culture just interjecting a friendly competition, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? But then again, the friendliness is not so friendliness when it comes to,
Yeah, yeah,
people
it's
trying
not
to
always
pick the number
friendly.
one spot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
It is cool that that competition is there because people were battle rapping in the park originally, so they
Hmm.
wanted to know who was the best in the neighborhood. But on the larger scale, on the macro, 10,000 foot view, it's kind of like, does it have to be like that? Could we
Mm.
just enjoy everyone and just agree that everyone's doing their thing
True.
versus like, I need to know who's number one. I need to
Yeah.
know who's
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah.
No other genre of music
Yeah.
has that. They'll put a whole group of people as legends, but they don't say, we need to
Mm.
know number one to 10, No
Yeah.
other genre of music has that.
I actually, the way how you just put that, man, it really brings a whole different perspective as far as like literally having, just admiring every artist or entertainer
Yeah,
for
give
what they
everyone their
do.
flowers, man.
Yeah, for what they do and what they bring to the overall picture, man. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like that type of appreciation right there, man. I think not only other people would appreciate that, but the artists themselves, because there
yeah,
is this thing where, like, within the music, And pretty much I could say comedy could be the same way, where it's like you feel like you're going, you have to, you know what I mean? You're competing, you got to be the best, you got to, you know what I'm saying, be number one, number one. Like the interview I just watched with Bow Wow on what's his name show, Cam Newton show. Shout out to Bow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was basically speaking about that as far as like, getting that feeling to be number one, you know what I mean? And yeah, I get that. That's a great thing. But what you brought up, if we can get to that point where we appreciate artists for what they bring, you know what I mean? Like what I would bring, for instance, you know what I'm saying? All the things I would bring to the whole reggae dancehall and, you know what I'm saying? Hip hop and all of that. And just appreciate that artists for what they're bringing, because everything is always different and unique with every artist, what they bring. So that's a real good perspective, what you just brought up with that, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's because when you have to remember whether it's comedy, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
hip hop, even if it's painting, if it's dancing, these things are art. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a sport. It's not basketball or golf or
Mm-hmm.
bloody weightlifting where you can actually gauge one person scored more points than the other. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this is art. It's subject to beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You know, so it's subject to your interpretation of it. So to say one Picasso is better than another Van Gogh, it don't even really make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
all you could do is just look at that picture and say, "Wow, this is beautiful," or "This don't work for me." You shouldn't. This. How do you even gauge is red more beautiful than purple?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really make sense. They both have their own attributes that are great and are great in different scenarios. So, but comparing art is a bit of a tricky thing because
Mm-hmm.
what measuring stick do you use? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, man. I'm telling you that right there, man. I think would open a whole lane as far as not just
Yeah,
with music, with just everything, just
yeah.
appreciation,
You
man.
just gotta
Like
appreciate. Yeah,
literally, yeah. That'll, man. Telling you, man. That's that's something. That is something.
yeah.
But let's see here. Uh, you want to let the audience know exactly where they can find you and stuff like whatever
Yes.
shows.
So you can
Mm-hmm.
check me out. We are Laughs on all social media. WER the 18th letter Laughs. We are Laughs. So you can find me on YouTube's, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and everything. I have shows coming up going on throughout Connecticut and New York. I have Top Quality Vibes in Milford Orange, April 28th, Sunday night. That's good. That's going to be April 27th. Excuse me. That's going to be a great show, a great night. New comedians, experienced comedians in a beautiful place. I also have shows in uh, uh, Old Saybrook, Connecticut, Mohegan Sun, Long Island coming up. But check us out on social media. You'll see all the dates and all the times. I'd love to see you in person. If you heard about me through the Magnetic Vibes Frequence podcast, come
Mm-hmm.
and say what's up. I'm going to big up my big B Focus for giving me
Yeah,
this
man.
platform and to get my voice out to you guys. And but yeah, you can check me out. We are Labs.
Yeah, man. I want to highly appreciate you, Ryan, man, and salute,
Pleasure.
man. Definitely.
Yeah,
I look forward. Yeah, I look forward to actually seeing your progress in just the comedy field, and you know what I mean, and how you start to rise. Because I see it, man. I see it. You got a
thank
bright
you,
future
man.
in
I
it, man.
appreciate that.
Seriously.
I really
But yeah,
do.
man. We'll definitely
Yeah,
catch up, man. Have a good one.
yeah. You too, man. Enjoy it.
All
Later.
right. Peace. All right, y'all. I highly appreciate y'all for, tuning in for the show. Of course, I like to actually start and end my show with my company motto, which is creating magnetic vibes on a frequency worldwide. Highly appreciate y'all. If y'all need any what do you call it, mixes, mastering, stuff like that, you guys can go ahead and check out my website, which is mpvibe.net. All right, and all of the prices and everything are up there, so you can go ahead and check that out. All right. But until then, stay safe, world. Peace.
Magnetic Frequency.